Hey chiropractors, we're ready for another modern chiropractic marketing show with Dr. Kevin Christie, where we discuss the latest in marketing strategies, content marketing, direct response marketing, and business development with some of the leading experts in the industry.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Modern Chiropractic Marketing Show. This is your host, Dr. Kevin Christie, and today will be a solo episode, and we're going to dive into all things money matters, because money does matter as much as we don't want to admit it as evidence-informed chiropractors, and we want our clinical skill set to do the talking and the money to flow in. Sometimes that's not a reality, and even if it is flowing in very well, there's a whole lot of things you need to be doing to optimize that. And we're going to talk about that today. And I'm also going to highlight the CSA Money Matters virtual summit that we're going to have in November, which I am co-hosting with Dr. Bobby Maybee and Dr. Holly Tucker. So we've brought her into the CSA fold to really help out with this conversation, because we know it can be a delicate conversation. I think are sometimes jaded with the other side of the profession, where we feel like they are highly or overly motivated by money and make all their decisions based on money, and the money overrides the clinical competence or care or even consideration in a lot of ways, which is unfortunate. And if you've listened to me in this podcast or seen stuff I've emailed about or posted or spoke in public, you will know I commonly talk about the pendulum going too far, right? Where just because the other side of the profession has done things the wrong way for very long doesn't mean we have to go too far and not have a grasp of reality in the ideal of what, whether it's treatment plans or money or all the different things that are out there, all the different variables that we've gone too far, right? Not touching patients anymore and only doing exercise. I've had all those conversations, right? There's nothing wrong with exercise, but there's also nothing wrong with manipulation. And so I've had that conversation, and I've not minced words on that, but that's neither here nor there. And so I just wanted to bring all that up because I do think we've gone too far with the idea, kind of the psychology of money, to where I think a lot of chiropractors out there don't think you can be a financially thriving and ethical chiropractor. I do think there's chiropractors out there that look at other chiropractors that are doing very well financially and say to themselves, they must be doing something wrong, right? That's the first thing we think of, is like, what are they doing wrong? Why are they making this kind of money? And I'm here to say I've gotten to know a lot of great chiropractors, especially over the last 5 years of traveling and speaking and interviewing chiropractors and all those things. And I know a lot of great ethical chiropractors that are doing very well financially, and they've got freedom of money for whatever that matters, right? So Bobby, Maybee, and I thought it would be great to have a whole virtual summit on that. And I want to do a little bit of a podcast to touch on some of the things that I've been doing and really getting clear on the financial situation in my life, right? And why I think it's important for you as well, okay? And so we're going to dive into that today. And one of the things I wanted to come right out of the gates with is that, the financial thing's a process, right? Like if you're listening to this and you're 27, you're a year out, it's going to look different than, me at almost 42 and the chiropractor that's 62, right? There's the different stages of financial life, and there's steps that you're going to do. Like I'm going to list a couple things I did this year where it really wouldn't make sense to you if you're, 2 months out of chiropractic school, but you have to start to understand finances, okay? And getting a grasp of that. And that's why we're putting together this virtual summit. Essentially, Bobby and I sat down and said, like, what would we want to know about finances within reason? Obviously, this isn't going to be a 3-year, financial MBA or something like that. But we put together a nice outline, kind of like a course outline. And then we said to ourselves, all right, who could present on these topics, right? And so that's what we did. It wasn't just a jumbled mess of presentations. It was an actual outline that was devised, and I'll go through that in a minute. And then we found great speakers to touch on those topics, and I'll go through that. But you shouldn't have any shame around money, and you shouldn't have shame around thriving around money. And it's okay to make really good money. It's good to expect to make good money. You have to have a little bit of delayed gratification. For me, I was late 25 when I graduated, and I've kind of earmarked the age 33 where I could say to myself, I was making nice money. So it took some time, but I was laying the foundation. For me at age 29, I sold half of a practice for, let's call it, $60,000-$70,000, I think it was, something like that. In that range. It wasn't life-changing, but at the time, looking back on it, really was helpful because I just parlayed that into opening up my own practice without taking out a loan. And that was at age 30, I opened my own practice. So I was doing the necessary things to get there. But at age 33, I remember where it's like, okay, yeah, things are really good. And now at 41, I've really lined up my ducks in a row to do that. And so I wanted to highlight what I've done so far this year. I went into once we kind of survived 2020, right? And that's like a whole other topic where you're going to have certain years that are stabilizing years and some are kind of accelerant years. And 2021's been an accelerant year for me. 2020, I think for almost everybody, was a stabilizing year for the most part. But I went into 2021 with the stability and was ready to make some decisions. And some of it aligns with the fact that I had my first child in 2020. But let's roll right into it. So we decided to do a 401k for the office. There's a lot of pros and cons to that. We did a match offering. You have to work for us for a year. Not everybody can handle having a 401k because you do have to offer it. Once you set the parameters, you have to offer to everybody. And typically there's going to be a match. You don't have to, but that's usually the benefit of it. And we did do up to a 4% match. And so that was a big step. And for me, I'm maxing out my 401k, and it's going great. I really like that addition, and the employees have liked it as well. So we set up a 401k. There's a lot of moving parts to that. You would need some kind of firm to walk you through that. But we are going to have a financial planning firm have a presentation during the virtual summit. I also, with my financial advisor / planner, set up a very detailed financial plan, and we will work through that each year. Typically, you can do like one financial plan for X amount of dollars, and then that's it. You could have a financial plan done one time for X amount of money and set it, forget it, and maybe go back to it every so often, or you can set it up to where you continuously monitor it, revisit it each year and things like that. So I'm doing financial planning with a firm, not just a financial plan. But I got really clear for me on what age 50 is going to look like, hopefully, age 60, and really set myself up with the end in mind, okay? And I don't plan on retiring, to be honest with you. I just want to get to a point where I could retire if I wanted to at a younger age than most, and really just put that financial stress away from it and still do what I'm passionate about on my terms, right? So I set up a detailed financial plan with a firm, okay? The other thing I did was added a key person policy to my practice. It's basically a life insurance policy, but the business gets funded, the business pays for it. And so if I were to kick the bucket, there would be an injection of money into the business practice to really stabilize it, to give my wife and, my financial planner and attorneys time to do what they need to do to sell the office, real estate, all those different things. So that would really back up the business. Next, during my financial planning, realized I needed to increase my life insurance a little bit. So we did that. We also took a life insurance policy on my wife. Even she's not working, but obviously if something were to happen to her, I'd be in a bad way, in a mess emotionally and all those things. So there would be some money that would kick in for that. So consider life insurance issues. And then we did a will and trust, which is a little more advanced. We had an attorney do that, and not everybody needs that. You definitely need some assets and things of that nature to get going and be of a certain age, maybe have kids. There's no right or wrong. It's just if you're 27, single, no kids, probably not time to do a will and trust if you have no assets. Right? But those are some of the things that we did to really try to get my house in order, and just put it all aside. And now I feel like I can check off that bucket of, okay, you know what? We've got security. We've got good finances. We've got good long-term planning. The business is developing a 401k. It's got a lot of tax advantages and investment advantages, all that different stuff. And so we really set out a plan to do that. And I've put a lot of good people around me to do it. And so that's kind of like some of the big ticket items of financial planning and such, right? But a lot of people just need the basics, need the basics of cash flow, right? Profit and loss statements, how to run a business. Like there's just so many things that go into it. And it's challenging because, we go to school for so long as chiropractors, right? It's just amazing how much we have to learn to be good clinicians. So to expect to be business savvy is challenging, right? But I think there's things we can do to obviously offset that, right? And we can be good enough at business and be good at marketing. And that's obviously something I've tried to help chiropractors out a lot. And I think with this summit, we're really going to be able to do a lot to help you out. So I want to run through the outline for this. And again, this is going to be on November 20th and 21st. And you can find this information at bit.ly/CSA Money Matters. Okay. You can find it also in the closed Facebook group. You can see in the show notes, we'll have the link and all that. But that's going to be November 20th and 21st. And we got a great lineup. So I'm just going to read through it. We're going to have cash flow confidence, balance sheets and P&Ls, and retained earnings. That'll be with Holly Tucker. We're going to have a whole topic on student loans again, get you freshly updated on all that with Travis Hornsby's group. We're going to have a debt repayment plan lesson with Christine Odell. We're going to have a whole presentation on Profit First with Holly Tucker again. She's going to give us a couple great presentation. Strategic Coach is going to provide a presentation on the freedom of money, which I've discussed before, but we're going to really dive into what that looks like. And it doesn't mean having a Ferrari. I think that's a mistake a lot of people think with freedom of money, or it doesn't mean, frankly, that you're ready to retire. It doesn't mean you can go just to the beach every day and you got the money spinning off more money. It just means that you have cash confidence, you have the plan, and you're not really sweating it per se with the money, right? So I'm going to talk about the 4 buckets and net worth, right? So I coach my clients a lot on the 4 buckets, and we're going to discuss net worth. One of the things with my financial planning, we have this cool website that's got everything in there. It's all connected. It's pretty cool. It calculates my net worth, and I monitor that. And not that I'm overly concerned about it, but I just want to see how I'm providing. It's kind of like a scorecard, right? We're going to have financial advising and planning with the Bridge Group. Okay? We're going to have a whole presentation, which is going to be like a panel session on buying office space. We're going to have progressive practice sales, talk about practice valuations and why you should do that probably now, and find out where you're struggling in the value of your practice, and then work on those things and set a plan to increase the actual valuation of your practice so you're growing. Okay? Dr. Bobby Maybee is going to talk about the cash practice, and we're going to have office design and ROI by Crossfields. And then we're going to have Greg Crabtree talk about profit margin and growing your practice. Profit margin is a huge issue in chiropractic, and we're going to really dispel a lot of the myths and thoughts on that. We're going to have the business of rehab with Justin Rabinowitz. I'm going to do another presentation on developing your marketing budget. Dr. Jeff Langmaid is going to do the payday practice, how to generate recurring revenue to set your practice free. And we're going to have strategic Google and Facebook ad spend with AvenMed. So this is going to be kind of part business finances and some marketing finances. Okay. Darcy Sullivan is going to be chatting on the ROI of SEO. And we're excited about this. It's a great lineup. It's a great presentation. There's going to be bonuses. And we're going to really try to give you a framework to start understanding your business finances better. And you'll have access to this lifetime if you upgrade. And it can be really your education for finances. And even if it doesn't, I mean, we're not going to turn you into a graduate degree holder of finances. It's really going to educate you a lot. You're going to understand a lot. And I think my excitement around it mostly is that I'm hoping it triggers the desire to get good at this and learn more from great chiropractors that are doing it ethically and start to really get rid of that fear or psychology around money. Because I know I've had it in the past, and I've worked hard and I've worked with people, including Christine Odell and Strategic Coach, and obviously my financial planners and advisors to get around that. I grew up of modest means and kind of had a poverty mindset in a lot of ways in my early years of chiropractic, and I've done a good job of working through that. And so there's a lot to finances, and we're hoping to tackle a good portion of it. Obviously, you could probably have 100 presentations to tackle all of it, but I think you're going to enjoy this, and I hope you'll sign up and register. It's for free. You can watch it during those days for free, bit.ly/CSA Money Matters. And then there is a very healthy bonuses offering in lifetime access for only $49. So check that out. That is our episode today. I just want you to start. I'm hoping this episode gets you thinking around the idea of thriving in practice and doing what it takes to get there ethically. Have a good week. Talk to you next week. Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Modern Chiropractic Marketing Show. Before you leave, make sure you check out our website. We've got blogs and podcasts and all kinds of great info at www.modernchiropracticmarketing.com. We also have a closed Facebook group of the same name where a lot of like-minded chiropractors are workshopping ideas and making sure that we have this continual advancement of marketing, business, mindset, and just growth of your practice. So check us out, modernchiropracticmarketing.com, and the Facebook group of the same name.